Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the Room.
This is Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room. Join film composer Anthony Marinelli, who programmed synthesizers for 7 songs on Thriller, and A&R veteran film producer Stephen Ray, who assisted Quincy Jones and was in the studio every day with Quincy and Michael.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room.
I'm Anthony Marinelli with my longtime close friend and co-host, Stephen Ray, bringing you the real stories directly from the talented people in the room with us during the making of Thriller, the greatest selling album of all time.
Drum machine.
Drum machine?
I think we should do the drum machine.
Yeah, drum machine, yeah.
Because this was kind of a
Yeah, that was-
discovery for
that-
me that I
yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
It was just,
Did Michael have an LM1? Because it seemed like a lot of stuff from the demos, it was LM1. And
It's
then
very possible.
that was my
that would
understanding.
have been, yeah,
And that would be the
John
earlier.
Barnes and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At the
it's
house.
all very possible.
That would be the earlier one. Was John working with him
God bless him. Yeah.
At
the house, right,
Yeah,
Greg?
a lot at the house.
for Thriller?
Remember being at the
I
house?
don't know to what extent. I don't remember I know that he was working with him, but I don't remember.
It was earlier stuff mostly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It was up there.
Helping him
It
get-
was just
helping
working
him
with
like
him a lot.
studio-wise and set up
and
things.
even with writing, you know.
Yeah.
Helping Michael with forming ideas
Translate.
and making translating them to demos.
Right.
I just don't remember to what extent.
Okay,
I know
okay.
that he was working.
Yeah, same here.
So there was a demo, there was Starlight, and the drum pattern was there, but then we recreated Thriller from zero, from the bottom up, right? It was basically you and me and Brian, and David Williams was on the track, and then there was brass that went on, and that's about it, right? For Thriller.
I did the Rhodes, and the Sinclair parts, the organ.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of players, in terms of people.
Oh, yeah, the
It's
actual
a
players in the
minimal
room.
amount
Yeah,
of people
yeah,
that built up
yeah,
the track Thriller.
yeah.
And we recreated it.
Yeah.
And the drum sound had like a lot of different instruments, and it was a drum machine. Now I'm opening up the hood here because I had a friend working at Linn, and I couldn't really get the kind of drum effect that was on the demo with this LinnDrum, and this is all I had was the newer LinnDrum. Oh, this right here.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I had a friend from high school named Brad Cox, right? And he worked at LinnDrum.
Okay.
And I went there at night during Thriller, and he would burn these chips for me.
Wow.
So they were like this. Oops, it just fell out. But there's claps.
Okay.
So that's a good one that I just happened to have fall out because those are the claps from the LinnDrum. But the claps that were on the demo sounded like TR-808. So he burned me a TR-808 chip,
That's crazy.
and I put it in here, and then we used the LinnDrum kick. The snare was from the LM1, so you can see, where's the snare hole here? Here's snare, so that's LM1 snare. I had to take out the LinnDrum snare. And then the cowbell, I have LM1 in here now because my LinnDrum is not working properly, but it was LinnDrum cowbell, and it was LM1 congas that play. Go ahead and solo it. So here, let's just start with the kick. And I have a question for you about the feel too. Start with the kick. This is LinnDrum kick.
Right.
You've heard that sound, right? We use that a lot. Okay, then we have snare, which is LM1 snare.
That's a nice big snare.
That's the LM1,
Yeah.
original Linn, not this.
So the LM1 is the predecessor. I mean, that
Yes.
was first. Okay.
So I had to put the LM1 chip in here. So we have a LinnDrum kick and an LM1 snare. So go ahead and put the kick and the snare together. We'll build this up.
I hold in my hand a clap chip. It's a clap chip from the P.Y.T, the LinnDrum machine I have in my hand right here, the clap.
That makes it more historical.
More historical. So in fact, I'm holding the clap. I have a clap.
You have the.
I have a clap, yes. I have the clap right here.
Okay, so we're playing LinnDrum kick and LM1 snare.
Yes.
Right? Go for it. I got to do it. So now we hear those two. And then on beat 4 of every bar is 808 claps.
Right.
So you hear the difference. The LinnDrum claps are like,
Yeah.
just, they didn't have that high-end slap to
Yeah.
it. Then the LinnDrum hi-hat wasn't bright enough, so we used LM1 hi-hat. So you can put that in. They're thinner hats. Then I'm assuming this was like a Michael edition, but there's a cowbell. And tell me this isn't a merengue. Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah, I
ding.
know, right?
Boom.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding. Boom.
Sure.
Ding.
Totally.
Right? So there's
But
Latin.
I think that cowbell. I think all the elements came from Rod.
Okay.
I
Yes.
really do.
Yes.
Okay, and now congas. And they're just in there,
So funky
and they
good.
just leave room for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they leave room for the perfect bass line, which happens to be, it's not there now.
Well, it could be.
Okay.
You gotta bring the bass up,
Yeah, it leaves room.
recreate it, but
It leaves room for the perfect bass line, which is this. Oh, wait.
well, I'm making it on the fly here.
Yes, sir. Oh, it's really warbly. Let's do it. Oh, you listen to the glide.
Oh, because we had the theremin.
Okay.
Close.
I don't know which came first, the groove or the bass, but in Rod's brilliant mind, if this was first, that made room for that perfect, because he's always thinking of what's the perfect part, what's the perfect expression to put in this space,
But he was pulling from Latin. This
yeah,
is like it's a merengue. When
Yeah.
you get in there and study it, Thriller is a boom
Yeah,
on the 4.
yeah.
Now I have a question for you.
Or on the anaphor.
Well, you're there, but the beat is like the claps are on the.
Yeah, they're
That's
on the
a strong
yeah,
beat.
Yeah, right.
You
And
just
it's
push the 4, but to clear for the claps,
Right.
which is another classic example of what we were talking about, right?
Yep.
With a short note, by the time you're done, the claps are
Yeah.
free to be clear.
As opposed to,
Try it.
see,
You're,
but, see, as opposed to this.
yeah, but I was thinking as opposed to.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a totally.
Full Latin. No, right? No. But just that 16th note, how much difference does that make?
Massive.
It's massive.
Yeah.
But no, so this is what I am not sure of. Is it this or is it this degree of shuffle? You hear the
Do the
hats?
other one? Now play. Do the other one.
It's a subtle difference. It's hard to tell.
I mean, here's a lot of shuffle. It's not this,
No.
right? But this one is just in between, and it is hard to tell. And I'm honestly not sure. Is Thriller a little
This
bit
seems,
shuffle?
this seems to be a little, it seems to be a little straighter. Less swing, right?
This is a little bit though.
But a little bit less swing.
Yeah. This is no swing, which when I listen to it in comparison starts to sound stiffer to me.
Yeah, that's different. That's not it. Yeah.
This is straight.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little bit of swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, just enough to give more air to the groove. That's what I think. I mean, that's just my gut.
well, I'm asking. I wasn't sure, and I'm thinking, well, did he swing it? And I wanted to say no because it's like a dance song, but you know what? It might have been. I don't know how we can tell, but it's like,
Yeah.
see if it feels better to you. Can you solo the hats with the kick and the clap? You hear him in there swinging. Okay, no swing. One, two, three.
Let's hear the record. Let's see. That seems straighter,
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Anthony
right?
earlier.
That seems
Then it's not swing.
less of a swing. That seems straighter.
Everything else makes it funky.
So you think it's that?
It might be that actually. That sounds like the record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually might be it.
Yeah.
Because it feels more solid.
It does. It does.
Interestingly enough. You know.
Yeah. Because it's all the other elements that make it funky.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that push makes it funky. On the
What
bass
you're
line.
saying, what you're saying is that the straight, the non-swinging aspect of the hi-hats, you know, brings out the funk
Yes.
in the bass part.
Yes.
It seems like, because it's definitely straighter on the record.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to Rod's, for example, like Groove Line, like a Heat Wave previous, he would do the straight and then have it would be other elements that would make it.
Funky on top.
Yeah, that's pretty much Thrillers. Like the funkiness comes from a lot of the syncopation because there's not. I don't think anything swung on there. Even Billie Jean is just. It's straight.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
shuffle to it at all
No. Yeah.
that I think of.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
always wondered.
But
about
that's,
that.
well, I think that's the first time I've seen the inside of a LinnDrum.
And let me turn it up. Can you mute that? And then this is how you did it. This is the funny part, because back then, I didn't have these little. They didn't build these little docks, so it looked like that. So I had to like tear these things out and then put them back in, and I was breaking the legs off of them.
Oops. Where's that other one? Oh, did you take it back?
We would have to put them in there in this kind of way,
Right.
where there's no dock, and it was really easy to break off the little feet.
Sure.
So if I had to make a change, I was trying not to do it in the middle of the day where I would then we'd have no instrument, because we didn't have a lot of these chips. So I do it at night, and then if I messed up, I would have to go to LinnDrum, get my friend to go there and burn me another chip so I can come back the next day and have a snare. Because otherwise, this was all behind the scenes of
Yeah.
this.
But it wouldn't affect these ports here, right? It would just potentially break.
Well, these are just the chips, right? These
Yeah,
are
but I'm saying, but in here, where you
No,
set
no, it didn't. It would just break off the little feet.
Right.
But you see, like a ride cymbal takes up, 8 chips, because it's longer.
Okay.
So back in those days, like just to have a sound on a chip, you could only get a half second.
Wow.
This entire chip. Like now, you could have endless. It could go on for minutes,
Yeah.
an hour on a chip. But this was it, like half a second. And to get a cymbal, you'd have to have all these chips. 8 chips for the ride, 7 chips for the crash.
Wow.
The hi-hat's 4 chips just to get the open hat.
Wow.
And then these were all short guys. You know, and if you had one chip bad, you didn't have a hi-hat. So there was like a little bit of behind-the-scenes nervousness going on, trying to get all these drum sounds, because I did P.Y.T. with this thing. Do you remember that session?
Vaguely. I remember doing the Rhodes.
That was the first.
And the bass.
Yeah, you were in there, and it was Paul
Yeah.
and Lewis Johnson.
Yep.
And I was playing this live with the Dr. Click. And that's the first time I've ever done that with a rhythm section.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, do another take. And, you know, all I was doing was like starting and stopping.
Yeah.
But I was fresh out of the hallway with James Ingram dictating the form to me, because we use the LinnDrum, like, unlike Thriller, where it's the same pattern all the way through. It had like, you know,
Sections,
verse,
yeah.
chorus, bridge type of thing.
Yeah.
So we were there on top of a bunch of anvil cases with this LinnDrum and headphones, because the studios were busy, making the beat. And then we went in there, and then you guys showed up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, these are like the rhythm section guys. Like, it was just awesome for me. And I'm just playing, you know, LinnDrum, but luckily we just went with stock LinnDrum on that one. Otherwise I would have been sweating again.
Yeah.
Changing chips without, like, because if somebody said to me, like, well, there's a different snare than something else, then I'd be risking swapping a chip out, you know, in the middle.
Yeah, and potentially, breaking it, destroying it.
Breaking it, then there's no snare.
Yeah.
So we were pushing the technology.
Yeah.
And in those days, there wasn't 2 of these. I mean, I guess I could have just made phone calls and gotten another LinnDrum. There was a bit of nervousness for what I was doing with the synclavier. You know, the disk drive was very fragile. It was 5 megabytes. Imagine a 5 megabyte drive, but that was like this big, like a shoebox, and really fragile.
Wow.
Join us for the next episode of Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room, with your hosts Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray. Watch our extended interviews on youtube.com/@storiesintheroom. Audio-only interviews are available on all podcast networks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok @StoriesInTheRoom. For the latest news and links, visit the website, storiesintheroom.com. This podcast is produced by Christian D. Bruun and David Wolf, recorded by Audivita Studios. Additional recording by Ben Rackless. Edited by Jay Spang and Sean Hedinger. Music by Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray.
Michael Jackson's Thriller